action hero, Bellamy. That's really fun to see. Let's bring out Bob Morley. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning everyone. I hope last night was fun. Was it?
Yes!
You're here, glad you made it.
How's your St. Patty's Day so far?
It's been good. It's been good. I've had a meet and greets and chats with a lot of you. A lot of talking this morning, which is cool. I always love watching those videos. It's kind of nostalgic and like, for me it's just like I can't believe that we actually did all that stuff. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you have a favorite memory from all of those? I mean, there were a lot, but do you have a favorite memory of filming a certain one of those scenes?
I don't know, I just didn't realise how many people I strangled. A lot of strangling.
A lot of running.
A lot of running, yeah. I was looking at it going, I remember those days where I could run like that.
Yeah.
So my knee gave out at 76. I don't know, like, yeah, it's odd to think about it. I know that I thought about like doing the action hero type stuff when we were shooting it, but yeah, looking back now, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then like even just like some of that there was a bit of a clip where I was like crouching and standing up, and I remember being like, this is the shot. So it's like, as ridiculous as it seems, you know, like, because sometimes I guess when I was younger, I was like, I want to be a serious actor about like the human condition and everything like that, but like that stuff is so much fun. And I'd love to be doing it again, you know?
Excellent. We all hope so too.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we just had, we call him Zach now instead of Zach.
Zach what?
Zach.
Zach.
People misspell his name. Zach McGowan.
Yeah.
We were talking about your Western. Would you like to talk about your experience of filming the Western with Zach?
I really enjoyed it. It was kind of like a spur of the moment type thing, and they were like, do you want to come out and do a Western? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was playing a character based on a real person, but there was no like images in that. But also as like, you know, half Filipino, half Australian, it's pretty rare for me to get any sort of period film. Like, I see all this stuff for World War II and everyone's going up for it, I'm like, I'm never going to get that. There are certain periods of history that I will never get to play in. So a Western was one of those, and it was a lot of fun. And I got to cross paths with Kevin McNally. He's from Pirates of the Caribbean, and I've known him for years, so it was kind of like really fun. And it was like, the thing that was amazing about the film, and I hope that they figure out a way to get it to you guys to see, Zach's awesome in it, but the guys who wrote it and put it together, they were like 21 years old, 23 years old, they were just doing it all themselves, doing it like real grassroots. There was like a real just sense of grittiness to it, the way they were getting it done and the passion they had for it, and that was really inspiring to me. Like, I remember being that young and being like, I want to make movies. These guys were like, I want to make movies, we're just going to go for it, and they happened to get a bunch of like actors and stuff like that, and you know, their first one they made, it was just them and their friends trying to put it together. So it's got real heart, and yeah, I would love for people to see it. But it was kind of, what was interesting about it though was, you know, we're in Wyoming, and all those guys grow up with guns and everything like that, and this was around the time of what had just happened on Rust. Yeah. And so us actors were all a bit like, oh, I don't know about this, and then, yeah, it was an interesting period of time, like doing that.
Yeah, Zach was saying he checked all the weapons himself just to triple check.
Yeah, so it was fun, but also like, Zach had been there for like 3 months, living off the land, really doing it. And he's got all these moves, he's got all these gun moves, and I'm like, oh crap. And so I'm like just out the back there like, how am I doing these moves? Like just trying to figure it out before they call action. I'm like, all right, here we go. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and they like, you know, wearing the Western outfit, and I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption, so it was fun to go and keep my outfit and be a cowboy for a little bit. And I was jumping between shooting that and doing the one in Atlanta with Eliza, so I'd go and do that and then go back to the other one. And then, like, it was a busy period of time, and I think I did a convention in Germany as well on one of the weekends, so I was like all over the place. But it was fun to be busy, especially at that period of time when the world was kind of shutting down. So
Right.
yeah.
I could see you on The Last of Us. I'm just saying they should hire you for The Last of Us.
That's right. And do you know what's crazy though right now? And I said it a bit in the meet and greet. It's because of the actors' strike, the writers' strike. Every A-lister is available. So casting is just like straight offer to whoever. So you see all these announcements and you're like, these are all roles that would have usually gone through the process and I would have got to have a look at it.
Yeah.
So we're just going to wait until all the A-listers are busy. And then I can maybe move my way up.
Well, before we open to fan questions, which we'll do shortly, I had a non-100 question, which is, what is your favorite part about being a dad?
My favourite part about being a dad, like there's so many things. I mean, obviously the world, like, you know, love isn't a finite thing, and you realise that when you have a child, like, you have capacity to love even more than you thought you could, and that's an amazing thing. And being away from him this weekend, and even the dogs, I realise how much love I have. Like, and I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm just like, when we get home, I'm just like hugging Eliza, she's like, what's this? I'm like, well, there's no one else around to do it, like, it's usually a panda. And I was like, she's like, I like it. And I was like, you're not going to kill the panda, are you? But there's that, and that's a really beautiful thing to be able to know within yourself, and you can give a lot more than you think, and the capacity for love, it just grows. But also the lessons that you learn, like, and the perspective that you have to change. Like, if they're having a tantrum, you have to realise that, you know, they're struggling to communicate what they want, and you have to kind of check yourself, because yes, your initial reaction is to have, like, if any human is, like, if someone's yelling at you, you feel threatened, but you've got to, like, check where you are and then try and help them. So in that way, it's a real test of, like, managing yourself, like, being the best version of yourself to help somebody else. And I think that's a really important lesson, that you haven't had the chance to do that throughout your own life before having children or whatever it is. It's like checking in on yourself so you can be of service to somebody else. That's something that becomes really evident with becoming a parent. Yeah.
Beautiful. Fans, if you'd like to line up to ask Bob some questions, the floor is yours.
You're back. What is it today?
That was kind of funny when you said, all right, what was your favorite movie or TV show to act in?
I mean, The 100 is one that will always hold a special place to me. Just being like an action hero, having such high stakes, like I hadn't done sci-fi before and I fell in love with it. But there are other ones that have challenged me in different ways, like in Limbo. I know a lot of you haven't seen it, but I'd never done comedy before. And I knew I really wanted to do the job. It was one of the ones that I was like, I know I want to do this. And I was surprised when I got it, and the kind of producing director, Trent O'Donnell, he does Ghosts, Hacks, New Girl. He's like kind of done all the comedies in the US. He's Australian, but came back to Australia to do this project. And so just to do a comedy with someone of that caliber, it was amazing. And it really, one thing that really changes, like, it changes the perspective that people look at you. You know, like even my management team were like, oh, we can put you out for comedies now. Like, because you get these breakdowns of characters and they're like, oh no, but he does action, he does comedy, he does romance. And so now that's shifted a bit, and my confidence to be able to do comedy has shifted. Not that I'm the funniest guy in the world, but I believe that I can at least give it a good crack now. And so that was one of the most challenging. Yes, the subject matter was very heavy in that show, but also it was a challenge in terms of finding those comedic beats. And it's almost like doing theatre again, because you've got to be quick, you got to know your line. Like you get multiple takes, but you have to be in it. You can't be like, oh, what's my line? Because you need to have a flow with your partner. So in Limbo, The 100, of course, and Love Me is another one where I got to work with some really high caliber actors and play very much in reality and have space and time. I think that that's a luxury that most of us actors really love. Like, The 100 is so fast paced. Like, if you watch it, there's probably no shot that lasts longer than 8 seconds. But like, if you watch something like Love Me, you'll have long shots that can take up to 30 seconds to a minute, and actors have time to pause, think, perform. So yeah, I just love acting. So when I get to do it, I'm very happy.
Okay, thank you, and may we meet again.
Thank you.
May we meet again.
Okay, I was just thinking about this, like when you were answering the question about fatherhood. So, for whatever reason, I have a dad who just chose not to get to know me, and that's okay, because my mom's awesome. But as a father, what is something that you want to make sure that Henry knows about you? Whether it's something silly, something serious, some combination of two, what's something that you want to make sure that he knows as he gets older?
I just want him to know that there's always a safe place for him to come and talk about what he needs to, you know? My hope is, funnily enough, when we knew we were pregnant, I was kind of hoping that we would have a girl, so she would grow up knowing she could be anything and she'd have the support. Fuck whatever society is saying about it, you deserve to be here and have a place and a voice and you're important. And I was so gung-ho about doing that. But I also think the world needs guys that look at everyone equally and take and listen, take things in and listen and also believe in themselves. And so, I want him to be, I would like for him to know that it's okay to be in touch with his feelings, that emotions are hard to manage. I'm turning 40 and there are still emotions that come to me and I'm I don't know what to do with this. And just to kind of get into the larger spectrum of it all, and for guys my age, and I don't know how it has been for generations before or the generations coming up, we never learn about what testosterone is actually like. It's a powerful hormone, and we're just oh yeah, but you're a man and this is what you do. It's no, sometimes you might just have to realize, I'm full of testosterone, that's okay, these are my hormones, I can move through this. You feel like you're going crazy, and I don't think young men are given that guidance or understand our own bodies the way that young women do understand their bodies, and their cycles and everything like that. And I think that having a better understanding of biology, of what it is, to have all those different hormones coursing through you at that age is important. Probably not where we thought we were going to go, but just something that I think it's the better you know yourself, then the better you can be for others.
Well, Henry has a great male role model to look up to.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Hi. You want to talk about testosterone?
No, but you did remind me I do need to put on my hormone patch when I go back.
I love this con.
But when looking at the character of Bellamy Blake, if I was going to narrow down a core theme for him throughout the entire series, it seems to be forgiveness. Forgiveness on his sister, forgiveness in arguably one of the most iconic scenes of the entire show, the finale of season 2. If you need forgiveness, I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would agree with, or is there a different theme or additional theme that you would attribute to the character?
Look, I think very much forgiveness is something that he talks about, and there's a scene with Clark where he says, forgiveness is hard for us Blakes.
I know, my name is Blake.
I'm sorry. However, and I touched on this yesterday, a big thing for him was, he was a young man thrust into parenthood way before he could handle that. And all he had was his mother's voice in his head saying, your sister, your responsibility. That was his purpose, and like he expanded that idea to my people, my responsibility, and that was one thing that I think really hindered him from personal growth or understanding who he was, and he just kind of took it on himself to try and be responsible for everyone and do the right thing all the time, and it was just like he would always come up against something, even if it was against his morals, he would convince himself that this is the right thing. And I said it yesterday, but when he saw Aurora in the cave and there was like this unspoken connection, I felt like it was his mother saying, you're okay, like you don't have to do this, and he found his own inner peace. So an ongoing theme for him was that drive to feel like he needed to protect people, but he didn't have the tools to do it in a way that was a healthy way to do it. But he had love, but he also didn't know how to express that or share that properly, you know?
Also, Bellamy did not get enough shit for also pulling the lever at Mount Weather, and that was a problem, and I already told Christopher the same thing.
Yeah, but also, how about this? Bellamy was right about the nightblood, we could have stayed on the earth, was right about transcendence. Didn't get much credit for that either.
Of course we couldn't ignore that arc.
Pardon me? Come back here!
So we're just gonna ignore that arc.
Yeah.
Thank you, good question.
So first off, just thanks as always for giving the most thoughtful, articulate answers.
Oh yeah, that's just me though.
It is, but no, like, thank you. So question picks up a little bit off what you were saying in the meet and greet, but working on shows like In Limbo, Love Me, more rooted in reality, serious subject matter, and you know, you've spoken at length about, you know, personal struggles you've gone through and, you know, that we all go through. Does working on projects like that feel cathartic, or does it pull you into that struggle more, or is, you know, push-pull? Like, how is that for you?
It's definitely, it's cathartic, but it's more so that it's not totally cathartic. Like, it's a truthful story for me to tell. I definitely get pulled into that, but having worked so much on myself and trying to learn about myself, I know when I'm ready to ask for help. Like when I was on In Limbo, and not to trigger anyone, but and I hope it doesn't, but it's a show it's a comedy about suicide, and when we were doing certain scenes, and I know that sounds like an oxymoron, and it's a very challenging, complex show, but I knew we're coming up to some particular scenes that I was really scared. I was scared to be on set, scared to do it, and you know, express that to Ryan, and I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. But not doing it on my own and sharing that with my acting partner, with the director, and having that support, which is so important, like that, you do feel so alone when you're going through that stuff. And it takes real courage to reach out and ask for help. And so when I was tackling that show, or we were working through it, it was very much an open dialogue and checking in on each other and making sure we're okay. Like we had therapists on set, you know, and every crew member that was there working on that show had been affected by what we were working on. So it was very much, I think, a healing process, but a scary one. Like you kind of have to get into a vulnerable place. Like you do, if you want to heal, you kind of have to go to places that scare you, and you have to be vulnerable to share. And even when we're doing season 2 of Love Me, my family, you know, my siblings went through years and years of IVF and like had lived through that struggle. So that was really important to tell that story and to do it, you know, justice. I think that when you take on subject matter that is really to the core of what is quite emotional and hard for people, you feel the sense of importance in delivering it well and truthful. So even though it's tough to go to those places, to me it's really important to do it honestly and authentically. So yeah, the short answer is yes, it is.
Well, thanks for a typically shallow answer.
Hello. So I just wanted to say that like you're amazing and I love you a lot. And the question that I have for you is, like, if you had to go anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
If I had to go, or if I wanted to go somewhere?
Yeah, like if you wanted to go or if you had to go.
Look, like the obvious first answer to me is anywhere where my family is. That doesn't matter where we are. And also home. Like we've got like this amazing farm in Australia, and it's just a very peaceful place. But yeah, they're kind of it. But honestly, it's wherever my family is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So in the books, spoiler alert if no one read them, we find out that Wells and Bellamy are half brothers.
I know.
How do you think Bellamy would have like adapted to that relationship if it had been explored?
Like, could you imagine how bizarre that would be? Like, I'd either be like, Mom, like, what the hell? Like, are there any other kids on the floor that I have to tell? Or Jaha, Dad. It would have been interesting, for sure. And I said it yesterday, like, I think having Wells around would have been an incredible addition to the show, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, and Eli is awesome. I was watching Peripheral the other day, and I was just like, oh, I miss that guy. He's great. So, yeah, the dynamic would have shifted a lot. Like, if you brought Wells back into the equation, it would have been a different show. But it excites me to think about what it could have been, and what Jaha could have been as well. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Christina. I was wondering if you could share like your favorite piece of life advice or favorite quote that you
like, there is one, and it's escaped me right now, but it's something that I came across when I was at university studying acting, and it was at the time, I think Laurie Anderson had said it, but I think it was somebody else had said it, but I'm probably paraphrasing, it says, the more personal you are, the more universal you become. So the more that you share, the more people will understand you. Every one of us goes through the same stuff, and if you've got that strength to share that, chances are you're going to connect with a lot of people. And that's true for acting, and I think true for life. You know, we have more in common than we know. And it's important that we all connect on that level. And that's why I think storytelling is really important. You know, we're all here, we're all from different backgrounds. You know, probably love different things, but we love this show. And storytelling is that way, and sharing and being vulnerable is that way that brings us together. So yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Not my quote.
Hi, Bob.
Hey,
So thank you for your work on the show.
thank you.
I appreciate it very much. So my question is, it was a big theme on the show, love is weakness with the Grounders, then Allie trying to erase the hurt by taking away the difficult parts of our relationships, right?
Yeah.
And then the Bardoans trying to just break selfish bonds, right?
Yeah.
So if you had to complete the term, love is weakness, taking out the weakness, love is what? Either what do you think the show says love is, or you can answer for yourself.
I'd say love is courage. Like true love is courage. And courage is being brave whilst you're scared. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question. My mom is actually out there, and she wanted to ask, is there going to be a season 3 of Love Me?
Yes.
I mean, I'd love for there to be. I mean, yeah, it's a bit, the answer's a bit more complicated. Unfortunately, what's up? Oh, hi guys. Unfortunately, like, the champion of the show, the guy at Foxtel, Brian Walsh, passed away last year. And he was kind of the champion of the show that kept it moving forward. So, there are certain things that, you know, we'll have to kind of work through. I'd love to work with those guys again. But yeah, I'm talking to the producer about it. He says it's not off the table, but yeah, there's a lot of like pieces that need to come together for that to come, that are way above my pay grade. So I'd love to say yes, I'd love to play Peter again, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, awesome. And my question, I'm kind of piggybacking on somebody else's question. If you can travel anywhere in the world besides Australia, where would you go?
I know, I realized when you asked where would I go, and I was like, you can't really go to my home, so...
yeah. And you realize that Henry and all your family with you.
Those guys aside, I've always wanted to go to India.
Oh, India.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't really been, like, through the continent of Africa, so
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll do rapid fire, 2 questions, and then we gotta move to the next panel. Thank you. I know, time flies.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hello.
this is really scary. What was your
That's courage, that's love. You're doing it.
what was your favorite scene to shoot and why?
My favourite scene, there's a lot of them. One of my favourite scenes that, like, one of the first ones that comes to mind is when Bellamy and Clark are going to the oil rig, to Luna's oil rig, and Bellamy's kind of saying how forgiveness is hard for them. One, because it felt really good, and it felt like a really good scene, I felt like I was in it. Funnily enough, I watched it the other day, and I thought I was rubbish. So, how things feel at the time don't necessarily look that good when you rewatch it. But one scene that I really had a fun time with, and watching it back, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty cool. There was a fight scene in an elevator with Murphy and Bellamy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun, like, you know, doing that fight scene. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Good morning.
good morning. Can you tell us what it was like to shoot the blood transfusion scene in Mount Weather when you were upside down?
Oh yeah, well,
Your God's underwear.
That's right. I actually was talked about this in my meet and greet. Yeah, that was a tricky one. Just multiple reasons. And it's quite funny because that whole day was weird because it was the first time I met Tass, and we were basically naked and just spitting in my face. Nice way to meet her.
It's a meet cute.
Yeah, really cute. And yeah, being hung upside down is actually pretty tough. And I know the stunt team only wanted me to be upside down for about a minute. But unfortunately, one of the actors, not Eve Harlow, the other guy that was there kept missing his mark. And I had to act like I was dead, but I was very frustrated because I could see his T mark. I'm like, just fucking And then I ended up being upside down for about 4 minutes. And that was it was very sickly. Your arms feel like they're about 200 pounds each. Blood's just rushing through your head. I had to kind of lie down for 4 or 5 minutes before I could move. And then the fight scene was, and then we get up and fight. Yeah. We obviously had breaks and stuff like that. But yeah, it was kind of wild to shoot that. And it was go into a fight scene in my underwear, and then Tass to be there and to be fighting guys and bleeding and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's just another day at work. But it was funny when Shannon came on the show. He was like, I saw that scene. He's like, man, that guy's jacked. I love that. I guess it was kind of cool.
Well, thanks for your question.
Thank you,
And everyone, let's
guys.
thank Bob Morley for being here.
That's all right. I think those are a little more durable. Give it a little check though.
Test.
Good.
Put it on the chair.
Yeah. The chairs are nice and cushy.